images in their mind, you know.
Yeah,
Whatever.
I just think about when people try to turn things around. They're like, well, I'm like, okay, why do we have to go back and clarify what we all know is reality? Because you're a fucking retard. So we all have to go and redefine it for you 15 times because you
Oh,
can't
I'm
fucking
tired
get
of
it.
it.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
tired of it too, dude. I'm
yeah, I'm
fucking
tired of
tired
it.
of it. So yeah, this guy, so that guy, yeah, that's fine. I got no problem with that dude. He's actually been, I've been to 2 meetings he showed up to. And fine, hey, cool. You're reaching out to people that normally you wouldn't. So you're actually probably you that might edge him to where he needs to be because when you get all that's
Right,
kind of what happened with Trump in some cases too. It's like let's reach out to these areas where they're not normally showing up. In
right.
fact, I read there, or I think that's what Trump Jr. was talking about in an interview. He said the same damn thing, or JD Vance. That's right. He's the same thing. He said we know who our givens are. Let's go to those places where,
Let's go to the other
yeah,
places and make a
but
dent,
it
make a
doesn't take
wave
a
there.
genius. But why does that they
Right.
make it sound like I'm like it's not. I even thought about that here in my local. I'm like, why are the Republicans sending me all these beautifully printed materials that I'm gonna fucking throw away? Like, what the fuck do you want me to do with
Right.
this shit? You don't got to
Right.
convince me. And it's not because I love Republicans. It's just because you guys are on the
Right.
things that are more towards what I want right now.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
although I could never be on
See,
the
the
other
left.
side because if they don't like the fucking Constitution, then they can go get fucked. But,
Well, the
yeah.
Democrats don't work that way. The
Hmm.
Democrats don't want. They don't want anything to do with anybody that'll debate with them. They don't
Hmm.
want any of that stuff. So they're never going to go to MAGA country. They think that
Oh, right.
MAGA country should be silenced and shouldn't exist. They don't accept the reality that there are people that think differently than they do.
Yeah.
And the Republicans at least are willing to talk to the people they know don't think the way they do. That's the difference in the parties right there.
I definitely
Yeah.
know the difference in person because I talked to them both.
Right.
And
Yeah.
there's one side that they'll when I talk to one of the guys
Engage.
that
Yeah.
he's very Democrat. He still talks to me all the time for different reasons. I won't get into because they're just annoying and
Right.
boring. Part of it is like I'm a disruptor because he's like a traditional Democrat. So he also doesn't like a lot of the things that they're far-reaching ones are
Right.
getting into. So he'll
Yeah.
bring me in when he wants like me to say the things that they want to say, but they don't want to say them. Stop being a coward and do it yourself. And
Well, the,
fix your fucking party, dude. But
well, the progressives don't want the other side existing. I'll give
exactly.
you an example.
Yeah.
You know that black conservative perspective guy that has the YouTube. You may not know who he is. It's
Maybe.
it's a black guy in his 30s that he like lifts weights and stuff, and he makes daily videos, and he's all conservative.
Yeah.
And there's these three progressive older black guys that have a YouTube channel, and they were mad because the Young Turks, Anna Kasparian had a conference call with the conservative YouTuber,
Hmm.
and the three progressive guys that have a YouTube channel, they found out about that, and they used to be on the Young Turks. Well, they said, well, maybe we should. One of them said, maybe we should have the black conservative perspective guy on our show, and the other two were like, oh, let me know when you're doing that because I'm not going to be showing up for that episode.
Yeah. Well,
I'm not. I
Chunk.
don't like to give them platforms. That's the difference.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, yes, yeah. Because
Yeah. They want to
even
deplatform the other.
Chunk is
Yeah.
going on the Republican shit, conservative shit as well.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah. Because
and
he
while I'll still
understands.
talk shit because they're part of pushing the whole fucking crazy town narrative for years, I'll still give them shit. You don't get off just because you decided now you're going to start being reasonable or whatever. You still
Oh,
get
of
to deal
course.
with your shit. You
Right.
want everyone to die from that didn't take the vaccine, all that shit. No, you still get to deal with it, but
Yeah. You're still. Yeah.
but
You're still on the hook for that shit.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So, but there's a lot of people that and I'm not going to go so far as like, no, you're good. You're turning. Look, he's being red. No, he's not.
Yeah. Well.
He doesn't
But
need to
they
be red pilled
understand.
though. You know that. See, they're fanatics too on the right side. I can't deal with that shit either. Well,
I
you
don't
got to
like
do that.
that all the time.
Trump is the most. He's the most amazingly intelligent. You just don't know. He's playing 12D chess. It's like no,
Nah, no, he's
no. He
not.
fucking makes mistakes. He makes mistakes. He
Of
gets
course.
they better him. There's people that are extremely smart on both sides. They wouldn't be in existence if they were that stupid. You know, as the local politics, same thing. Like I deal with a couple of like one guy that he's always downing the city council. I'm like, look, man, until you actually talk to these people, you have no idea what you're talking about, because the
Right.
news will take whatever it says and put it up there. You know, hey, it's news, right? And while they'll treat them with kid gloves, they'll still paint them a certain way. You know, but when you talk
Right.
to these guys, they're survivors. They know how to live in that system. They are not going to go down that easy. You know, so they have they've got things ready to go when you ask them things. They don't always just give stock and canned answers. But I'm sure it may not always be the same everywhere. But these guys, at least on the city council, I've listened to them. They're pretty fucking good. I don't believe half the shit they say, and some of the other ones like are just clearly to make the news. Like the black guy was like, well, you just want the white rich people to control downtown. I was like, okay, this is race bait right here. And he's changing his tune just for this line, which tells me he's doing it just because of the exposure. I don't think he
Right.
believes that. He works with these
Right.
white rich people. He probably got
Right.
deals with these white rich people,
Yeah.
and he's probably benefiting a big fucking time from these white in the same fucking spas and all that shit that they go to. So don't tell me that you're against white rich people doing the development when those white rich people are exactly why there's any development. So,
Well, it's like
and that's
the
in a
character-
minority fucking city. So
like the
why is it always
character
the
in
white
that
people that are
movie.
doing it? Because
Yeah.
they're not just cashing in and taking off, and they're actually no. We're gonna, we got these like the Ansira family, for example. They want legacy shit. They're like the Chinese. They're like, this ain't fucking about today. This is about 100 years down the line. They're thinking like fucking legacy shit. There's people like that. So
Right.
yeah. I give him credit. Got to give Whitey credit.
Now, the guys from the Young Turks, at least they understand the populism. They understand that
I have seen Chunks talk about
you,
that. Yeah.
you have to be popular. You're not going to win. I mean, you've got to have popularity. You've got to, and the Republicans understand that now more than the Democrats do. The Democrats just want to play a hard line. You either agree with us, we don't care if you like what we say. The other side right now is trying to be a little bit more reasonable and try to gain a little bit of a following in the other camp.
Well, I definitely
they're playing
see
populist.
Republicans that
Yeah.
are doing the same, though. I see it. My
there
whole
are some.
my
yeah.
whole Twitter
Oh,
is
yeah.
full of a lot of them, and
Yep.
that they're like, no, you can't. You did that, blah blah blah, whatever. I'm like, yeah, this is why I can't go full MAGA personally, because I'm not crazy town. I'm not gonna just lockstep
don't-
do
Yeah.
because
The whole
Trump
MAGA
is God Imperial. He's not.
No.
And
I
even if
don't-
you guys
I
are
don't-
joking, at some point that joke turns into you're not joking anymore.
Even Ronald Reagan. I thought Ronald Reagan was a good president,
Mm-hmm.
but he's a clown about half the time. So yeah.
Well, I don't know. I don't know what I'd have to really do a deep history
Yeah,
dive,
I
and
just
I'm
don't
not.
like.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think.
I'm not a fan of any of the big. I mean, they can talk a good game, but yeah,
Right.
I'm
Yeah.
never going to be a big fan of anyone that pushes for more of anything legislation. I don't want tariffs. I don't want any of that stuff.
I think that's the key right there. What
Yeah.
you just said. Anyone that pushes for more, that's it.
More. I don't care
this,
what you are.
more that gun
Yeah.
control, whether it's that more this, less of that.
Yeah.
Don't take or give anything. Stop. Just
Right.
quit it. We don't
Yeah.
need more of anything, and we don't need
more
you
of
to.
that. Yeah,
As
we've
far
got
as the
too
take,
much.
the
Yeah.
take is fine if you're taking away like certain things that are limiting, but the
Yeah.
taking the Yeah, no, like taking guns or whatever. Like, why? Just stop being specific on what you're. Yeah, oh, I may not personally care for one thing or another when it comes to certain guns, but I don't really care because those aren't the guns that are causing all the problems.
Right.
There's a scary idea, but it could. Well, yeah, and a truck could fucking maul through a bunch of kids on a street, but we got a bunch of them on the street anyway, so that ain't the
Right.
problem.
Right.
It ain't the
Yeah.
truck. It ain't the
It,
fucking look at why do you need 1,000? Of course we don't fucking need 1,000 horsepower in a car, but it's not
of
out
course
there
not.
mass murdering people either. So
Right.
you
Yeah.
know,
Right.
yeah. So stop with these
Yeah.
false equivalent. What's it called equivalent? Blah, blah, blah. I cannot
Equivalency.
equivalencies. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was thinking equivalency. No, that's not right either. Well,
Oh, I
whatever.
get hung up on that. Yeah.
Equivalencies. Yeah,
I hate when these people post these memes on Twitter. It's the guns.
yeah.
Really? That's the cringiest shit I can
I
ever
think I saw
read.
that one you're talking about.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
always pops up. It always does.
It's the guns. No, it's not the guns.
Yeah. It's the hands of the people that are
Yeah.
using them. And that's just what it
Yeah.
is. Whether they're deranged psycho, like with that one girl, 14-year-old girl that got kind of groomed by some other dude. And I don't
Yeah.
mean, I don't know what kind of grooming, but basically because grooming, they try to put towards like sex related things now, right? That's all like,
Right.
child grooming. But you can go into it used to be that if you would go into a company and you were being groomed for management or whatever, that's the same idea. You're just being,
Right.
uh, directed to what's the best way to, get to that, whatever it is. So
Right.
yeah, this girl, that dude was in another state, I think, and essentially grooming her to be someone that's going to cause violence, and that's what happened. So
That's
yeah,
exactly what happened.
that's
Yeah.
not the gun's fault, you know.
Right.
That's
That's got nothing to do with the
yeah,
gun.
that's
Yeah.
some dude over there, and then some girl that apparently doesn't have parents or something, something going on there. I think she was 14. Yeah, so it's like, what the fuck's going on in your life that you don't you're that far disconnected that you have no idea what's happening there. So,
And then
well,
they bring up some Scandinavian countries that, well, they have a banned assault weapons and they don't have yeah, you're talking about a homogenous fucking
right,
society. All
yeah,
right.
yeah,
Yeah. The more there's a lot of things. This may not go over with a lot of people. What I'm about ready to say, when you bring in multicultural diversity everywhere, you're gonna have cultural problems
right,
in the big picture. I mean, it just is.
yeah,
That's never worked in the history of the fucking planet
yeah.
for long term. That always leads to some sort of violence. I'm just saying, it's just
Yeah,
reality. So,
that's
yeah,
why I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, not as a subtext to I'm Mexican and the
right.
secondary. No, motherfucker, if you're here, that's what you are.
That's what you
You
are.
can have your
I'm not.
culture at home,
I don't go around talking about I'm a Scotch Irish American.
right?
Okay.
You can have your culture at home, but you
Exactly.
better be for this country if you're here and you're
Exactly.
taking
That's what I'm
advantage.
trying to say. Yeah.
Yeah. And this
And
idea
we're
that we gotta fucking help every single fucking person under the goddamn sun doesn't make any sense. And that is even
makes
towards
no
people
sense.
that like
Yeah.
homeless. It used to be
And
that no, they would kick them out of the fucking town. They would kick them out of the fucking town. They
yes.
wouldn't let them
Yeah.
rest. You know why? Because
Right.
it's the same principle that works today. When you go to a addict that's recovered, they'll tell you, I got arrested and I realized I don't want to do this anymore. You know why? Because the life was hard. So don't make it easier for them on the street. Make it
Right.
hard. We're
It,
doing the wrong thing.
it's
And
antithetical
right?
to any kind of what they're doing is antithetical to human life.
Yeah, we're not saving anybody.
Human
That's
life
why
is
we are
life
having
isn't
more
supposed to be
deaths.
easy.
Yeah.
Life's not supposed to be easy, and when you compound the mistakes in life, guess what? It's not supposed to be easy.
Yep.
It's supposed to end up with disastrous results when you make huge self-inflicting mistakes. You're
Right.
supposed to go down. That's reality.
And that's actually what's going on to the major cities. They're making huge mistakes
Yes,
and
they're
we're
making
going down
yeah,
because they
but
want to
no,
keep
they want they're getting
fostering
saved.
people. They want to,
Right.
you know, I tell city services people that are at different levels, and you know, the reaction is usually the same. Oh, I don't want that. And what I tell them is like, what's going to happen to the city? This is usually part of a conversation. I do the weave that Trump says. You know, I got to weave. We got to come back. Anyways, but I tell them what's going to eventually happen is this city, major cities are going to become the ultra rich and the ultra poor, and the ultra rich are going to pay for the ultra poor to live, and that's it.
Oh, it's already happening.
Oh, I know
It's
that,
already
but
happening.
when they look at like when they actually understand that, they're like, no, that's not what I want. Like I had a guy literally say that, like he was, I broke him out of his fucking operating, you know, system, fucking the Matrix. I broke him out of it. And I was like so crazy to see that he didn't even understand until I told him, and the way I told him, you know, it was more words behind that. And this is a guy that works code enforcement. He's the supervisor. He has a lot of power. And he doesn't seem to understand these basic concepts, you know? Like there's a reason why we need to keep vacant houses vacant or demolish them. And that we have to keep cleaning them out, and we have to keep kicking these people out. Kick them out, you know? Not, oh, we got a work order in. No. It is your job and duty to protect the people because you work for the fucking city. You get paid by the city. And the city charter states that you're supposed to help with the health and welfare of the citizens. It's there. I don't know what your city charter says, but I'm saying mine does. You know?
Right.
So if you work for and trust me, this is stuff that because I read all these things, and so when I do go talk to city officials and I do hit them with, you know, word for word, you know, city charter references, and they look at me like, what in the hell are you even talking about? That shows you how far gone they are from doing their job, that they don't even know. Debate, like, you know, you're a police officer taking an oath. They don't even know their oath anymore, you know, like,
oh yeah.
It's like they're just in there for the job title to the next job, whatever that is, and for whatever money it brings them, but mostly for the connections that it's going to bring. And yeah, even some of them for the pay that they take, just like in Dallas, where the multiple city council members got found out about taking money from a affordable housing developer so his projects would get bumped up. And that's just a real thing that happened this year. Yeah. You could just type in Dallas developer pays city council for projects, and you're going to find it. I guarantee it.
Yeah.
So, and that's just one instance, and that's a major city. So if you think it's happening, if it's there happening for sure, and found out, what the fuck do you think is happening in probably most major cities? Somebody's getting money, or somebody's. Yeah. My city just seems to be in some kind of protective bubble right now still, where nobody's being held accountable for shit. Yet fucking a lot of people know what the hell's going down, including problems with the DA here, that every city services has problems with the DA. Every fucking one of them, except for zoning, because I think they're dirty as fuck and don't know how to do their job.
Right.
But I haven't found one good advocate in zoning, the advocate for the city, and for the city I mean for the people, because what the fuck is a city if it's not the people, you know?
Right.
So
100%.
Yeah,
Well,
sorry, I could preach all day about all this shit, and
they want to bring back feudalism. I mean,
that's what that's what they want to bring more districts, and they already do it. That's why we we have the 9 districts. And you have your surf lords, or what, you know, you have what was the second level? I can't remember, but you had the fiefdoms, right? Yeah. So you had the controlling warlords or whatever for each one of them that they'd get allocated. You know, now you control that section right there. And that's exactly what's going on. They personally get money from state reps that comes from federal. That was in that one. Oh my God, who's that Ukrainian woman in Congress? But she broke it down real easy. And I love those foreigners that they're Americans now, and they're like, fuck communism, fuck Marxism, fuck socialism, and I'll tell you exactly how it's going down. And here it is right here. And they're just plainly stating exactly what probably everybody knows, that everybody dresses up in other words or other language. And they're like, no, that's exactly what it is. They took a gun and shot the baby in the head. That's what happened. And everyone's looking at them all shocked. They're like, well, what's the problem? Did I say something wrong?
crazy.
Did I use the wrong word? No. Yeah, she talks about how what's that bill, whatever it is right now, the mega pork or whatever they're calling it, but how that thing too is packed with so much money. That's where they get their money from. And
It's
right now,
ridiculous.
the big one is housing too. So that money gets allocated from there. Okay, I got you X amount of money down to the state reps, and the state reps say, okay, I got you X amount of money down to the county and city, that are in line with the party, and that's how little places like this Esperanza Peace and Justice bullshit fucking center. Whenever you peace and justice, come on, you're pushing so hard. You're pushing. I already know you're full of shit.
Give me a break.
Yeah. And they help out with illegal. We're going to help illegals get their documentation, or they call them migrants or whatever they call them, but they're illegals.
Right.
We got lawyers there. All right, great. So you're helping to break our system. You're helping to destroy our way of living. You're helping to add more to the deficit and remove jobs. There was a thing in Texas where they said, well, actually, if you remove the illegal immigrants, as you call them, you would be out thousands, hundreds of millions of dollars, right? I was like, no, actually, what happened there was because those people had those jobs and produced hundreds of millions of dollars, that would have been normal citizens producing that. But instead, and in the article it goes on, and they went on to buy services and buy houses. Oh, so we have a housing shortage that's going to illegals that are legally working.
Right.
Do you not even see what you're fucking writing yourself, you fucking idiots? God damn it. Like, God damn it. It's crazy town.
They're sitting on their virtue. I mean, that's all that matters.
Sitting on something.
It's like listening to Robert Reich talk about economics.
Reich?
He's on Twitter. Robert Reich, that little short dude
Yeah,
that was in the Clinton administration.
I know.
That
that's
motherfucker. Right. I would love to debate that motherfucker. I would love to debate him. He's fucking. Oh my God, man! Talking about if it sounds good, it automatically has to be economically viable. That's his whole philosophy on economics. If it sounds wonderful, then it must be economically viable. That's his whole platform.
How all these fucking programs get started. Well, it sounds like compassion. It sounds like it. And then during the execution,
so it must be wonderful. Yeah.
See, all these programs and government entities have to build into them a level of known corruption that's going to happen. They should do this. I don't think they do. But anytime they put out something with money behind it, they should say, okay, 10 million's going out for this. Now we know 3 million of that is immediately going to go into somebody else's pockets. We already know that. So they should start they should start laying it out because it's like, and we know, well, actually one guy was talking about that. Now that I remember, he was talking about on the employee side of government. He was like, well, you got like 2 people doing the work of 10 because the other ones are idiots and they don't know what they're doing and they shouldn't have been hired there in the first place. And you had to hire 10 because you had to find 2 that were actually good. You didn't need 10. But you had to keep going until you got those 2, that could do the actual work. And there's your bloat.
Yeah.
And that's coming from insider, having worked for, I think he worked for Homeland Security. Yeah, that's right. I think he was, before that, I can't remember exactly. I know he was a military guy before even that. I think it was border-related things and then Homeland Security. Yeah. So, and plenty of those people know, but he calls out how but he called that stuff too. The what is it? TA, the flight bullshit. What do you got to go through? I can't even remember. I haven't flown in so long.
Yeah, it's the I know what
TA,
you're talking about.
Not TEA.
Yeah.
TEA is Texas Education Association or something like that.
The TSA.
TSA, there you go. He's like, that whole thing is just horse shit. He's like, there's nothing there that it does. It's the illusion that we're creating safety.
Illusion.
There's nothing that is you're never going to stop any real thing from happening with that.
The real world the actual results don't match the intent.
It's just the idea that,
the intent is wonderful. We're going to stop all, but it just doesn't, it's going through the motions. It's like you said, it's an illusion. It's an illusion.
Yeah. And, now that I say that, in some ways that can be helpful though, because if it does deter at least a portion of the low level stuff, then that
Right.
is somewhat helpful. But I
Oh
think it's
yeah.
still bloated.
Yeah.
It's still a
Oh,
waste
it's
of time,
100%
and
bloated.
everybody hates it. So
They
everyone
could
is
go back to
punished.
what they were doing before. Even the TSA pat down stuff isn't going to be 100% effective.
Yeah.
So uh, they used to have security checks before, just not all, like you said, bloated.
Right.
That would be good enough. You know what I mean? What they were doing. Yeah,
Right.
sure. I don't know what happened with 9/11. That's just, I don't know. I don't want to get into it, but it seems a little hokey to me on that much level.
Yeah.
I
Yeah. I
don't
don't know.
know.
I've never
I don't
really.
want to get into the conspiracy
I know that's
theory
what I was gonna
stuff.
say. I don't
But
really. I can't
yeah,
speak about the things that I don't really know, and it turns out a lot
yeah,
of people either do really know or don't really know,
right,
and
right,
I'll stay on the side of not making myself sound like more of an idiot than I already do.
yeah.
So,
That whole Patriot Act.
oh, that
Talk
was
about
everybody now
a
realizes. Holy
overblown.
shit! What did we do? Yeah.
What did we do? The
Yeah.
whole the the Port Authority Act and all this stuff.
Right.
You know what they
Oh, cut
thing
out.
they were going after with that Port Authority thing that they threw in like a rider attachment to that bill
No,
to ban online gambling. What the fuck does that have to do with Port Authority?
they just
You know what
knew
I mean?
we
Because
could
they couldn't
probably get it
tax
in
it.
here. Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what they did. They did the
Yeah.
old midnight rider attachment to the bill.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they used to try to be sneaky. They're not even trying to be sneaky with that shit anymore.
Yeah.
They just come out, here's 1,500 pages. Did you read it? Nah.
They realized how
The title's
easy
all I need. The title, it's right in there at the title. That's what it does. The title,
it goes back
you know.
to there's one thing one guy harps on here in my city. He says, "Where's the watchdog press?" And he's not wrong. Like if
Right.
it's not citizens calling this
They're
shit
bought
out
off.
or
Yeah.
independent journalists, you're not going to get it from major media. Like every
No.
so often I do see something where they're kind of going after but I think that happens when the opportunity is too good to turn away from hurting their own
Right.
party that
Exactly.
they're not getting a
Well, they're on.
directive to
Yeah.
stand down. So they're
Right.
like,
Yeah.
I can actually go on this
Oh,
because
they have to throw a
like
bone every once in a while. You got to
that
throw.
too probably,
They got to throw a bone every once in a while
or it's
just
going to
to
come
make
out
it look
anyway.
like they're
Yeah,
doing it. Yeah.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
It has
They
to
know
be
what
a
they're doing.
lot of
Yeah.
check boxes for them to actually
Right.
call out their own
Yeah.
side. At least I think so, because every so often something real juicy comes out. Yeah, and it's like, hey, wow, this actually checks out as accurate. Like here with the DA and this Ren Collective thing that came out. I think it was last year sometime, where basically he's almost word for word taking direction from these guys in Austin that were by way of California. Criminal apologists is what I call them. That whole
Right.
pro criminal whatever, I forget, I don't know what they actually call it, but it's basically pro criminal stuff. It's everything about compassion towards criminals, and
Yeah.
give them a. It's like great. So when you look at recidivism, though, exponentially year after year, it just goes up. Like they are going to commit crime. Sure, there's people like a buddy of mine that he had problems and he got out of it, and then depending on the type of crime, I mean, yeah, maybe it's not as bad. So yeah, we don't need to throw all these people that smoked some marijuana into prison for 15 years. That's, I agree, fucking ridiculous. But the real problem is I don't even know how they handle cases, because now the only way that I see it is I think the way most people do, which is plea deals. We don't
No,
want to have
100%.
we don't have the
Yeah.
time, or we don't want to have the time. I don't know what it is about the courts, but to make a judge locally tell us, the public, which did happen, he said, well, we can't prosecute all these cases. A case could take $1 million. Okay, so what's the cost of a couple of generations of a family going under? And they talk about economic development and lack of it in my area too. What's the cost of a family, one family going under for a couple of generations because they got into drugs? And so once you get addicted, then you start also being in that world, and they start getting into trafficking too, right? whether it's drugs or people, because prostitution, or items, stolen goods, that kind of stuff. There's where your economic failure happens too. But I don't see people connecting that. It's not just because crime is happening. Crime is happening because a lot of reasons, right? Like the whole idea that crime doesn't come from low income areas. I'm sorry, I'm never going to back down on. Yes, it does. It absolutely fucking does.
It absolutely does.
I'm not saying it doesn't come from there, because there's people that people do that because they're fucking lazy. Right. I'm going to tell you that. They're getting into drugs, drug trafficking or stolen goods because they want to make money a cheaper way, and they're going to justify it like, I couldn't find a job. We got immigrants from other countries throughout the history of our country coming here and making empires. Yes. And you're telling me, born here, you can't fucking make anything happen?
Right.
I'd rather stay poor the rest of my life than get into something that's going to fucking damage other people. And that's what's happened. I've gotten some pretty decent money during some. Thank you, Trump. Thank you, God Emperor Trump. Thank you much. Thank you much. Hope it comes back again. Roll it in, baby. Roll it. But look, man, when the economy does good, businesses do good. And when businesses do good, I do good, because that money starts flowing. They're like, hey, we can spend money on this shit over here. We can spend money.
It ain't giving people money that makes that happen.
That ain't giving people money. Right. It's people feeling more at ease with their money, so they can spend it in a number of ways, including the ultra rich, or the newly rich or whatever, the just have got rich barely right now, they want to burn that money. Maybe they don't actually, but some of them do. But that whole economic, that's hard tied, especially when data comes up now, and even the city can't refute the data where, like, say, my area has the highest opioid crime in the entire city. And yet there is no grand crime plan. They have one for violent crime, but ODs are fucking, thousands a month at this point, and what do we do? We declared an opioid epidemic. Great. And we're spending money on Narcan. Great. So you're going to try to bring them back from death, and that's your solution.
Right.
Let's not actually go after the real problems of, like, where is this drug trafficking happening, and let's shut down these property. This is my push now. Let's shut down the properties. Let's go after the property owners where this stuff's happening, because it's not just happening in the middle of the street. It's not just happening on a corner. Sometimes they do, but the majority of the time it's happening at where these motherfuckers go in between point to point. And it's not hard to track them, because they don't even have to try hiding, because just like the elected politicians, they know that pretty much they can do anything they want in the open. There's no fucking accountability.
100%.
Dude, I've got at least my, arguments down on going after drug trafficking. And I know people like Joe Rogan and others that are participating in drugs. They're like, no, you should make them all free and all. I wish I lived in fucking La La Land.
No.
But I've seen too many people.
Because he just hangs out with the guys that have money that use it for recreational, the Bill Maher's of the world,
exactly.
Whatever that the Kevin Smiths, that's his, crowd like that. Yeah, there's no crime there. They don't need to commit crime to get their drugs. Yeah,
exactly.
They're
not hardcore addicts that have a problem that is undeniable. When you have an undeniable problem, you're no longer in control of your life.
Here's a law I would pass, and it sounds ridiculous. Okay, if you make over $200,000 a year, we'll allow you to have drugs. Anybody below that is not allowed to have drugs. Seriously, because the people that make a lot of money, they're not doing any violence.
Not going right. There's
no violence in their drug world.
They're not murdering each other for their drug stash. They're just, I'll just buy some over here. They're not going and shooting up each other's houses or regular citizens exactly.
Joe Rogan doesn't know anything about drug violence.
Because, we're in a progressive state, essentially, and cities and all that. Sure, I'm for it. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Because anything else goes other than actually going after crime. I got no problem with it. Yeah.
If you've got a nice house in a gated community and got got a nice Lexus in the driveway. Hey, smoke it up.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah.
We'll deliver it to your house. I don't give a fuck if you're paying for it. Go right ahead.
Yeah.
That's your life. But if you're out on the street and you don't have any job or anything, it is illegal for you, buddy.
Yeah.
I don't want you anywhere near that shit. And I
Yeah.
don't want
Get your
you know
shit
what I mean?
together, and then you can party.
And then you can party.
Hey.
That's
You know what?
the
I
way
kind of
would
like
do it.
that. Yeah.
I'm telling you, I've been saying this. I've been thinking this for. I bring that up whenever some pro drug guy, like like
Yeah.
that crappy. He's smoke. He's the big pothead. You know who I'm talking about.
Yes.
Crappy.
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know the guy, but it seemed
I
like
know
he
you don't know
was
him, but-
in charge of his mind.
Yeah, he's
So-
a good guy. He makes
yeah.
a lot of money. He's got his own garage where he
All right.
fixes cars. He's got his own business.
Sounds
he makes
good.
He makes $100K a year.
Oh, okay.
You know, now his expenses are. He lives in small town. He lives in Scranton, Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, it needs to be legalized. I'm like, no, crappy, because you can. I said, crappy. Do you go out in the streets and kill people? Well, no, for your drug. Okay, well, then we'll let you on the clear.
Yeah.
But anybody that's in the street doing that shit, you can't legalize
Since
it.
you're only making about 100K or so, we're gonna have to have
Right.
you go through this
Because they
other
don't- yeah,
other checklist of stuff.
exactly.
Looks like you're checked out okay. You're under 2K, but
Right.
you're still over 100, and you match all these other checklists. You're good, but if you mess up here, we're gonna just fucking have to stop you right there. You know.
And
But,
I feel the same way about people. I feel the same
Like,
way
I
about
like it.
firearms.
oh
Firearms the
God.
same way.
Yeah. You know
Yeah,
what?
I
The
know,
whole.
it's not the Second Amendment.
No,
Hey,
no, the whole never. What is it? Shall not infringe. I'm like, have you seen
Infringe,
some of these
yeah.
motherfuckers? You absolutely
I'm
should
infringing
infringe
a
on some of
motherfucker
these
that's been-
motherfuckers.
Yeah,
I would love
somebody
to
that's
infringe
broken
my
a social
bullets into them.
contract, somebody that's broken a social contract and has a history of breaking in houses. I don't want him anywhere near a fucking firearm.
Yeah,
Are you
you know,
kidding me?
Let's start with some
Yeah.
public beatings again. See if that goes
Yeah,
over. And if it doesn't
cane the
work,
motherfuckers. Exactly. Capital.
Let's
Bring back
escalate it up.
capital. Bring back hardcore capital punishment. I don't do
Mm-hmm.
crime, Janzer. I'd rather jump off a building and end my life before I go out breaking into people's houses. I
but
couldn't do
everybody,
it.
there's there's a chance people are gonna do speeding or whatever it is, right? So just the punishment should go up as needed. Not
Of
speeding,
course.
speeding, whatever, right? Whatever. But
It's called
if you got
reality.
aggressive, where you're cutting
Yeah.
people off constantly and you're getting out of vehicles and threatening people with a gun in your hand, and you got problems, all right?
I don't want you with
Yeah.
a gun.
Yeah, that's different. But if you're just
I'm
in the
not
school
a-
zone and you went 25 over the 20, look, it fucking happens, all right? It's going
Right.
to happen. So let's not fucking
100%.
throw that motherfucker in
Yeah.
jail for 15 years. That's
Yeah.
ridiculous,
I
you
don't
know.
believe in
We got to
absolutism.
make no, you don't have to make
Yeah.
no, because most people are still going to do exactly what they were going to do before. So, no,
Yeah.
if you really want to make a example out of it, make an example out of the ones that actually do the damage. Yeah.
Right.
Not like
Right.
a guy with a fucking joint is going to go to jail for 20 years. And why am I advocating for fucking people smoking? I don't smoke. I don't care. But
I don't
I'm
give a
saying that it
shit.
doesn't make sense
Yeah.
either, though. I agree
Right.
with some of that stuff where they're saying they throw too many people in jail for it, I'm not even for
I
because
agree
I've seen
with
too
that
many
as well.
potheads that have thrown their life
Right.
away. But you know what? They threw their life away.
Right, exactly.
Not like
Exactly.
meth head that is going around and fucking breaking people's windows and breaking into cars and stealing shit
Stabbing
from your
people with
property,
samurai swords.
including each other. Look, I don't want to
Yeah.
clean up your friends' dead bodies. Can you stop that?
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah,
my
so
gosh!
Never
Yeah.
make it. I mean, I am pro firearm, but only for rational individuals. If you have a track record,
There's
of
a
not
dirty-
being rational.
That's one of those words, though.
I don't want you.
That's one of those
Yeah.
words that is a kind of in that dirty zone. Rational. Then it becomes okay.
Oh.
Well, what's a rational? Nah,
Well,
yeah, I
Getting arrested 40 times.
because a Karen would say,
irrational.
"Well, it's not rational if you shut up, Karen." So so it's that becomes who gets to debate that shit kind of stuff. I say the people with the most guns get to debate it.
Exactly.
You know what?
If you've been caught time and time again breaking into houses, time and time again, You're not a rational human being.
No, I'm saying the people that should be able to determine what's rational on handling guns should be the people with the most guns, because that'll cut out most of the Karens right there.
The people that have the most guns that have not broken societal
Yeah,
contracts.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Basic societal contracts. Yeah,
Yeah.
You're, yep.
My two guns that I've had, I've never used them. And
Yeah.
hopefully I'll never have to use them.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's not the guns.
Yeah.
That proves the case. Because if it were the guns,
Right.
then any gun is going to cause that problem. You just can't. You know what I mean?
Also,
The
irrational
argument-
fears related to guns. Well, if you have a gun, it could
course.
go off at any time. No, it won't.
No.
Like, I mean, there's conditions to it. Well, if you drop in it, you got to know what guns you have and which ones can drop and have safety features built into them and which ones don't. It's not a
Exactly.
movie. It's not a
Right.
fucking movie.
It's
you know,
not a horror movie.
don't
Right,
get if. But if you have your learning from, guns from movies, well, you're going to be real disappointed when it comes to silencers. Because they're really suppressors. They don't silence.
They don't.
They quiet things down a lot, but it's
Right.
not it's not.
No, it's not like the movies where the guy 20 feet away doesn't react. Yeah,
Right, exactly.
No, I know how that shit is.
And contrary to getting your advice from old Joe Biden, 9mm round is not going to blow a lung out. It's just not going to.
It's not gonna do it. It ain't gonna do it.
Yeah.
It can barely penetrate a tree.
Yeah.
Barely. Yeah.
Well,
A soft wood tree. It's barely gonna go in. Yeah.
yeah.
Hell, I've got a gun I've had for years. I've never even shot the thing, ever.
Yeah.
So it's not the guns, Sparky.
Yeah.
That's what I always want to tell. It's not the guns, because if it happened once, if it's the guns, it's always got to happen.
Right.
So your argument doesn't work.
Yeah.
It's like DEI.
It's a mechanical device. If it's broken, that's a different story from proper
exactly.
function. Yeah. If it's
DEI
mishandled incorrectly, if it's mishandled, just not
I hate
incorrectly, but
absolute.
just mishandled.
Yeah.
Then
It's
it's
like
going to be
DEI.
mishandled.
If DEI works, then it's got to work for everything. If it works once, it has to work all the time.
Yeah, I see what you're getting at.
Then you can't. You see what I mean?
Yep.
DEI doesn't work in sports.
It's real funny
it?
how that shut down real fucking quick. Like,
Right.
in the moment, it didn't shut down quick, right? It's like, how is this lasting
Yeah.
longer than a day?
Right.
But
Exactly.
and then months, and then stupid other nonsense. Oh, look how high they actually got up there. They kind of went really fucking. It was integrated into society to the point of corporations and schools and letting fucking dudes beat women and literally and figuratively. But it's going away. The mold is being killed by sunlight, hopefully. And let's hope it goes down, because even colleges are backing down from that shit.
Oh yeah, I'm hoping. Yeah.
So, yeah.
You got to shine the light on that.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, 'cause diversity is our strength. Not the diversity you're talking about. Is not.
Yeah.
It's not a strength. I'm not saying that I'm judging
That
the
absolutism.
individual.
Yeah, you nailed it right there.
Exactly. The individual is the strength.
Yeah,
The
diversity
abilities
could
of
be a
that
strength.
individual is the
Yeah.
only strength you have. Yeah.
could be a strength depending on what we're
It
even
could
talking
be.
what we're talking about, like in regards to what. Like, is that Baskin Robbins diversity or our strength? You know what? Actually, for Baskin Robbins, that probably works. Because they're all about different types.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
But I don't want
People
to
go there. But people go there because they offer an individual flavor that somebody else doesn't offer.
Right.
So it's not really the diversity that gets them.
Yeah.
They might go to Baskin Robbins and 100 times and always get that one flavor. They're not getting a flavor a different flavor every time. So it's not actually the diversity.
Well, hey, that's on the person. I'm just talking about the institution.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. But
no, but taking that as a serious example is kind of funny. But it works. It does work.
Highlights the reality.
Yeah, it does work. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
I did. Yeah.
They offer a flavor ice cream that one doesn't offer.
Right.
Well, because of the diversity, they just have a
But it
wider array
doesn't
of flavors.
make it doesn't. It also just doesn't make Baskin Robbins better just
It
because
doesn't make them better,
they
right?
could
Maybe their
still
ice
have.
cream's worse.
There you go. Thank you.
Yeah,
Took it out of
maybe
my
their ice
mouth.
cream's
I was
yeah,
gonna
maybe
say
their
they
ice
could
cream
still have
sucks.
shitty ice cream.
Yeah, they have 50 different flavors, but they all suck.
Yeah.
They don't taste good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's just not that simple.
Exactly. Yeah.
Anyway, don't
It's true. Yeah.
I can pick this shit apart all day. I mean,
It's
it's just
actually yeah.
yeah, it just takes a little bit of thought, logic, thought, like
Yeah, and it's easy for people to reject it and not combat it because it is so ridiculous. So why would you want to
right,
spend your time even thinking about what are they
exactly.
talking about?
But it's important to do it because it matters
Yeah,
to pick that stuff apart.
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
crazy.
yeah. Well, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Anyway,
I did get a call back after this email from one of the city high level leadership positions, and they were saying,
oh, you're gonna
"Hey,
get a job.
no, fuck no. Hey.
Oh,
No, and then even, I also wonder about that too. Who would employ someone that's going to cause that kind of problems? Because remember, accountability
the
sounds
CIA.
great. Well, that's true if I would go to another country, but I'm probably not the type of person that they would
Oh,
want for
I
that.
know.
Well,
I know.
not even for South America, because even though I look the part, I can't play the part.
You speak Spanish?
A little bit,
Little bit.
a little
I
bit here
speak
and there.
a little. Yeah,
Yeah,
I speak very little. Yeah.
yeah,
I
enough
used to
to.
be better. Yeah.
I can understand more than by far, but not
Right.
even then. If it's too complex, then I'm out of league. Then I have to pick words in like 1 in every 20 at that point or
That's
something
what
like that.
I do. Right.
Yeah. So yeah, it just
I took
depends.
3 years of it, and I used to be a
Oh,
little better. My buddy
I didn't take any
can
of it
speak it.
because I never learned it. I just never was taught it, and I didn't pick it up
Um,
naturally either because it was difficult. If you're going to try to pick something up naturally, you kind of have to be in that. That's why they teach babies exclusively, like with one person that'll speak that language, and
right.
then they get it from that person. But when you try to teach them a bunch of different languages from just one person, it's not always very easy. They tend to mix it up. They don't understand that there's a difference in languages. So yeah, it's better to. Yes, I'm talking about segregation. That it's better.
And yeah. Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But,
You're not telling me anything. Yeah.
well, I was at some point we were talking. I said, you know what, this is too good. I got to start recording it. So that's me trying to throw in jokes there, because I think I'm funny, but I would probably be doing that anyways. But yeah, if you don't
Right.
mind, I can upload this because it's actually some good shit. I think it's pretty
Oh,
good.
I don't yeah.
You talk the same no matter what. That's a guarantee. Heck, yeah,
You're a funny guy. I mean,
you're a real funny guy. Yeah.
hey, you're a funny guy. No, you're a funny guy. I mean,
Yeah, whatever. No, I
funny
just
how?
mean
Do I
I just
I
mean
amuse you?
yeah,
I'm
I
a
amuse
clown.
you.
I
I'm
am
some kind of fucking clown for you.
huh?
No,
I
I
love
just
it.
mean about the all this other stuff. It's all tied together, and it all people think that some of it's just national. It's not. It's real down chain too. It's real local level that all the cues get taken from. It's the idea that whatever happens down here doesn't happen because it happens up there. It absolutely does. You don't think criminals see Biden's son getting fucking exonerated, not exonerated, but pardoned, and think that, hey,
Yeah.
there's no fucking accountability for anything. Of course they see, if they ever do, but the ones that do, yeah, they see that, you know.
It still boggles my mind. Why would he record that behavior so much?
I don't know.
I mean, he's got
Narcissism.
himself. Well, that's part of it, but he's got himself
I don't want to use
measuring.
mental health as I'm kind of tired of that too. Using mental health as an excuse for everything,
I'm tired of it.
It
He knows
might
exactly
be
what he's
crazy
doing.
town, but you know what? He's just fucking
He's not
doing whatever he
crazy.
wants to. No, he's not, and that's why I
Right.
didn't want to say, it's narcissist. No, actually, probably just because that's what he wanted to do. Guess what?
100%.
We don't always have an answer to fucking everything. And it's not always
Yeah.
some kind of mental disorder just because we can't define it perfectly. So I
But
am
why would
definitely
you
tired of
record
that shit.
yourself? Why would you record yourself like measuring out on a scale like his rocks and shit? He's got hours of footage of him doing that.
There's a lot of
Is he?
behavior I see I
And
see
it's not
junkies
mental. Yeah, he's
do
just
that
like
have nothing to do with their. I don't know why they think they're normal. I see these what looks to be to them, I think, as normal behavior, and it's absolutely not normal. Like there was a guy walking down the street last night about 10 or so when it's about 50 or so, about getting close to 40. And now some people can say, oh, that's no big deal, I can walk. Well, he had short shorts, like mid-thigh shorts on, right? A wife beater, and that's it. Now most people, rational, reasonable people, are probably going to put a little something more on than that, especially if you're going to
right,
be go walking down the street. These guys think that they're being normal, and they're not anywhere near being normal, but
right,
they don't know how
right,
to be normal anymore.
right.
So like with the Hunter Biden thing, I think that's the same thing. That's just a drug thing. you
Yeah,
know
he's sitting there, he's
there's
smoking
no
a
mental
blunt, and
health issue there.
he's like in a diaper, and he's smoking a blunt, and he's got like a bandana around his
Okay,
neck.
that he's just
And
being
I'm
smart
like,
with the diaper though. He's
oh, of course, he's just being, oh yeah, 100%
he's just
when he
trying to he's
overdoses.
just trying to, yeah,
Yeah,
exactly, he's trying to get ahead of the curve if something bad that
of
goes
course.
down that he can't
Yeah.
deal with. Yeah, that is just
And
ridiculous
to
shit.
me, that's just bizarre to record yourself doing that. It's like the people that have like these political meltdowns, and they're recording
Oh,
themselves
and then they
like
cry.
during election times, and they're it's pure
Who would
you're
cry and
right.
record themselves
That's what I'm
over
saying. That's pure
politics?
narcissism. Pure, and there's
Because
hours
they know
among it.
people are going to watch it. That's it.
Yeah,
So it's
they're
all
just
about,
trying to
yeah.
engagement. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Look how affected I am by this, and
Well, I find a
it's
lot of the, even the political
illusion.
ones, because I have a lot of conservative shit in my feed. So even a lot of those people that they'll stop doing what they're doing and just make pure, what I call, and I think most people do call, pure engagement posts,
Yeah,
where there's
engagement
nothing
farming.
to do with
Yeah,
it. Right? It's just about
yeah,
getting a react, getting a, and I'm like, okay, so you can't call yourself like some kind of watchdog this or press this or whatever when you're also engaging and trying to just make money for yourself off of what
exactly.
you, if you want to
Right.
make money, then do it off of something else, not like, I don't know, because it's such a cheap way about it too. I'm just going to type a few things and, oh look, I don't know, stuff kind of pisses me off.
Anytime I make some sort of
Don't call
remark or
it, yeah,
reply on
yeah,
social media, it's because I'm replying to somebody I
right,
either agree with or disagree with for
right,
a reason. And
correct.
I try to say, no, I think you're 100% wrong by what you just said here. I'm not trying to like just put something out like, oh my God, oh, Kamala won the election or
Well,
something,
this stuff gets me actually about Trump stuff, where people are like, Trump wants to do this. Agree? I'm like, what is this, like? We all got to raise our fucking hands now? Yes. Heil Hitler. Yes, I agree.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
no, I ain't gonna be. Look, y'all. Why are you
I,
doing the things
I'm
that
only going to
the other
respond to
people are
that if,
criticizing you of doing?
yeah,
you know?
I only respond to that with a rationale of why I think that's wrong.
Yeah. I didn't get a
That's the
harumph out of that
only,
guy. It's like, okay, look,
right.
you're winning. You don't need to make sure everybody is still
Yeah.
repeating your exact thoughts. You know,
Yeah. There's
that's
just,
fucked up.
yeah.
Agree?
Yeah.
Agree? No. I mean, even if I do, I ain't gonna fucking tell you I agree. Why should I? Yeah. Those bother me. That's old man shit, though. I don't like just get pissed off at stupid shit. I mean, whatever. I'm like, how do you have enough fucking account with that many people when you're just saying
Right.
inane nonsense? Like, where did the interest come from? Yeah.
Right. Yeah. When I
Whatever.
see some supposed climate change expert start spouting about
Right.
this and that and doomsday scenarios, I'm like, no. I'll respond. I was like, no, we know what you're doing here. You're trying to sell a book.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, you're trying to sell a book that you have on Amazon
Trying to start that
that
revenue stream, baby.
telling us that the polar bears are going to be gone and all the ice melt. Well, that's been a cycle. That's been a cycle since the dawn of the planet. The
Well,
ice melts. The ice there's permanent ice in Antarctica, and there's a certain amount, 30% of it melts every year and then
Yeah.
freezes back. It's
Well,
happened since the dawn of time.
and I
It's
know
not
it's
anything
come
to do
up.
with man. Yeah.
I know it's come up, and I'm pretty sure I've read you quote it or say it, even if you didn't read it anywhere, because it just makes sense. But that we're just in a time that is good for us. We're in a time where we happen to
Oh, it's
be in that good temperate time where we can exist well for a while. But that's
yeah.
not the planet normally. Like, it's not like the history. Just because we don't have the long vision of seeing the changes doesn't mean that a shift in temperature is because we did it. No, the planet's
Exactly.
doing what it's going to do, and it shows.
Yeah,
I
when
love
it
the example of during COVID when a lot of people stopped driving for 2 weeks and all of these ecological things reversed like in a heartbeat. But we were like, well, what happened to all the? I thought that we couldn't clear it. Yeah,
planetary
that's right.
climate doesn't work
You
that
ain't
way.
you
I
ain't
mean,
that important. Turns out you ain't that important.
but that's like the human nature of,
Yeah.
oh, well, I exist, so everything that happens while I exist is so consequential.
Right.
And it's not.
Are
You
you
don't
Greta
mean
What's her
anything.
name? Greta Thunberg.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Greta,
You
you
ruined
don't
my
matter. I don't matter.
childhood.
What we're doing doesn't matter in the whole grand. If it when in doubt, zoom out on the
What the
planetary
hell?
stuff.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
Okay.
it's
I
not.
got triggered there for a moment because you did a rhyming scheme, and that's how the left does everything. They rhyme everything, and that
No, it's
pisses me
true.
off. But they do
Yeah.
it because they're reaching lowest common denominator of dum dums. That oh,
Yeah.
I know to make a rhyme. I know a rhyme good.
No,
So
if you want the truth about like what we know about the planet's climate, zoom out the data
yeah,
and it looks normal across the board.
right.
There's nothing about that data that goes, "Oh my god, we're all going to die in 30 years."
Yeah,
Nothing.
yeah,
So actually things are getting better.
yeah,
Yeah, we're warming, it's better. Yeah, we're in
yeah,
a CO2 famine. CO2 CO2 needs to be increased. It's going to be better across the board.
yeah. I don't
Yeah,
really
some
have
people.
any.
Yeah, some people are going to have to adapt. Yeah, there'll be some adaptation, but it's little stuff. Oh,
Yeah,
5 degrees Celsius and everybody dies.
right.
We'll be down to less than 1 billion people on the planet if we. No, there's temperature changes throughout just the hemispheres, way more severe than that. Nobody's dying.
Yeah.
There's less people dying from climate related
Here's
stuff
the other
now than
thing.
any time in the history of the planet. It's not even close.
This ties into national politics and people focusing on it during voting. And I'll tell you how I was talking to a buddy because his common law wife or whatever you want to call it is real anti-Trump and all that stuff, right? I don't
Mm.
care. Like there's people that are
Right.
anti-Kamala. I consider it to be, you know, the on two different sides of the same coin kind of thing, right? I try to really disconnect myself as much as I can from that. I don't do a great job, but I try to. That way I can kind of see, okay, yeah, you hate this, I hate that, and never Trump, never Biden, whatever, right? Great. Riding for Biden. God, you got to love those fucking
Right.
rhymes. I don't. I hate them. I fucking hate them.
No, they're they
Like,
don't. Yeah, they're
it's
bad
like
at it.
childish
Yeah,
fucking,
they're
but it,
terrible at marketing. Yeah.
right. No, but they're not though. It works. All that shit works for their side because it's all catchy, stupid shit.
For their side, yeah.
Yeah, and it works on the
But their
dummies.
side was they're already indoctrinated, just like the Trump can do no wrong. They're
Those
already
things are like mind
indoctrinated.
viruses though, because they
Yeah, they're
repeat,
already
they go
indoctrinated.
around and
Yeah.
around in your head, and that's kind of, it's like a psychological warfare. But anyway, it's a low level of it, but it's still,
Right.
for people that are
Right.
uneducated and in the middle-ish kind of somewhere, and they think they're compassionate and good people, if they hear something that sounds to them somewhat reasonable, like you don't want kids to die from this, right? But you throw it into some kind of rhyme, yeah, it's going to be like, okay, catches in their head, runs around a lot, and then they're like, yeah, of course, why wouldn't I want, of course I don't want kids to die, like,
Right.
but that's not really what they're getting after, and they're not going to, that's not, the objective's not going to get there. Anyways, but, gosh, oh yeah, the thing about the politics and the local, I was like, what? I told my buddy, I was like, this stuff's over, right? The voting and all that. So unless you're like a career politician, why you guys twist yourselves up in everything that Trump's doing or he's not doing? He's not even in office yet.
He's
But
not even in office yet.
you're so
Yeah.
concerned about him getting. Well, guess what? He's there. So now what are you gonna do? Keep twisting yourself up for 4 years about what he is and isn't doing, and if he's mentally, they're going on that again. Oh, is he? Or he's flubbing everything. I told him, I said, tell you what, especially during campaign time, I said, you go talk for an hour. You tell me how you feel. Now do it for 4. Now do it for fucking 10. Now do it for 14 hours out of the day. Now go fly the next day. Now do it again. Now do it again. Now, I'm
Right.
tired sitting on my ass doing a live stream for an hour.
100%. Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean,
You
that's
know?
crazy.
Yeah.
That lifestyle's not easy.
No,
Yeah,
it's not.
See,
You're gonna fuck up. You watch
And that's on both
any
sides.
any live streamer, they're gonna fuck up. They're not gonna know what to say. They're gonna not know. They're gonna get things wrong. They're gonna space out. They're gonna, and I had to tell him. I was like, I'm not even trying to. I tried to talk to this guy like in a middle ground way where I'm just saying, just look at more of the facts. You don't even have to be for or against. Just go do that. It's hard to fucking do. You're going to fuck up. So I'll pull from you. I was like, you don't think Obama, one of the better speakers, whatever, that people kind of agree on, whether you do or not, doesn't matter. I mean, you. But I mean, people often say, oh, he's great. And I kind of agree.
On a teleprompter.
But the thing is, he had plenty of flubs too. But he had plenty of flubs. Of course
he did.
It's just about whether or not that stuff is put in your face, whether or not you see it as being serious or not. If you take every single Kamala thing, yeah, she looks like a fucking cackling psycho. It turns out she actually is. But with Trump, and with Biden too, Biden's actually got he got worse, and people saw that over time. Wait a second, this is the joke is over. We can't pretend like he's mentally, cognitive and aware anymore. We can clearly say he's turning into a state of vegetable that we haven't even defined yet. It's just, But yeah.
I'm not anti Kamala Harris. Believe it or not, if she were a sharp,
so you are then, because she's not the things that you're going to say.
That's what I'm saying. I judge her as an individual on an individual basis. If a Democrat would roll out a candidate that could project at least the illusion,
right,
that I might be on board.
Put it this way: you're not against the labels that they've placed on her, but the person that's conducting business is some. Yeah, they ain't something's wrong there.
Yeah.
It ain't
nothing against her. She has no business in that position.
Yeah.
She simply has no business.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, but there's some Republicans
that
I feel the same way about.
Yeah, and they're coming out in Texas too, and thankfully other ones are saying, "Hey, this is the guy. Take him down. This is the one you want to get." And there's a lot of Republicans that know this stuff too. But like with Austin, there's plenty of people there that are like, "How does this happen?" And I'm like, the same thing that's happening in San Antonio. The people that are getting elected are doing what needs to be done, and the other side isn't. Plain and simple. Right. I don't see the GOP here in San Antonio. They don't make themselves well known and put themselves out there. Because I think old establishment GOP doesn't like the common people. That's my I've never seen them as a party of the standard. They're better than you. They hold themselves to such a high regard and high standard that no, I'm not gonna be around with the filthy. So the newer age people, the working class type of people, and I hate using that term but it is what it is. The people that are going to appeal to the populist type, like Trump. That does work for the newer GOP. Yes. That's why they had such problems with Tea Party uprising and all that stuff, where they were trying to redefine themselves, some years back, and it did work. As much as it caused turmoil and traditional GOP don't like it. If that didn't happen, you might not have had Trump.
It did work. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because it caused enough weakness there for something to come out.
Yeah, Trump is a symptom of that. Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
symptom of the disease.
Yeah. So eventually, I'm hoping things balance out.
Well,
Yeah, I mean, I really do. I hope everything gets
I'm
balanced
I'm
out.
just hoping I make it through all this stuff.
And we,
But I also have more close to home problems. So when I say that,
yeah,
I really
yeah,
do. I don't know an end result for me. I don't know what the next week is going to be. I don't know what the next day is going to be. And it's not like I'm in fucking Botswana or some other fucking,
right.
you
Yeah, you're
know.
not in. Yeah,
But when it comes to, I know what normal life can be and what it was for me at least, and what it
hey,
probably
you're
is
in.
for most
Hey,
people. No, I'm in a
listen,
very wrong situation.
listen.
I'm in,
You're
yeah,
in a place. You're
yeah.
in a place worse than the neighborhoods that those gangster rappers made millions of dollars writing raps about.
Could
Seriously,
Well, I think it's
I'm
probably
serious.
more equivalent to that time period for sure. We have the same things
Yeah,
going on, drive-bys and murder and
right.
all that, and
Yeah,
house getting raided and all that, whatever. But the downside is we don't have the heavy police activity that we did back then. That did help to correct some of it.
right,
That whole, I will always fight against the whole, oh, we lost the war on drugs. If we lost the war on drugs, why are we worse off now since we
right,
started going the criminal, apologist route, since we tried to do
right.
criminal reform and make that the
That's the
national
biggest
thing?
issue.
Why are we
That is a
worse off
huge
now?
issue.
Because
Right.
homelessness is not what it used to be at all.
No.
And more people are understanding that. And it sucks
Yep.
that more people, they should understand that. But they don't want to examine the problem. They don't want to look at it. They want to make the assumption that they understand what homeless people are, and they definitely don't want to look compassionate or like they're an asshole, because that's what it would turn out to.
Right.
But the reality is, the drugs
Homeless people
now
are
have turned
junkies.
homelessness into junkies, exactly, and people with
100%.
big mental disorders, big mental
Yes.
health issues that
It's a mixture of the
even
two.
if you took them off
But
the drugs, don't know if that would fix them.
hey, the vast majority of the problem in my little small town of 14,000 is the drugs. Every person that you would label as homeless,
Right?
in quotation marks, in this
Yes.
town is on drugs. It's
What's
not a
what's the biggest
coincidence.
what's the biggest like economic
Every
thing
single
there?
one.
Is it manufacturing?
Do what?
What's the biggest like economic draw for job? Is it manufacturing? Is that because I know
Yeah,
in small
that's
towns that have
about
had,
it.
yeah, that's usually
Banking.
ends up being the thing is
You,
drugs.
you either work in fast food, you work in a bank,
But that usually
or you
ends up
work in a
being the big,
factory around here.
like historically, that
Yeah,
ends up being the big downfall of small communities like that, small towns or towns where it's all revolving around the one major industry, and that major industry happens to be kind of a hard job. A lot of the times, it
yeah,
ends up being a drug related, like get me out of this fucking world kind of thing. I
yes.
want to
Oh yeah.
escape or escape the pain or whatever.
It's all
From
how
related.
but it's all how the individual handles it.
Sure.
These young kids, there's not a lot to do around here,
Right.
and to be honest, it's a mixture between a city and there's a lot of rural farming area
Yeah.
around,
Oh, I know it.
and a
I
lot
grew
of
up
those
around it.
kids, those yeah, I know you did. A lot of these kids are just lost.
Yeah.
They have nothing better to do than drink
Yeah.
and get
I
and
wanted to,
do
I wanted
drugs.
to be I wanted to go to a big city because I had already had a taste of the big city too. And I
Right.
remember going back and I was like, I remember making joke, man, they don't even know. We're probably listening to things that are 3 years old right now. Meanwhile,
Yeah.
like music and all that, which wasn't true, but trends get there later, all that stuff, because towns are also more resistant to outside change anyway. So it doesn't
Right.
even matter if whatever it is,
Yeah.
whatever change there is, nobody's looking for it. So yeah, whether it's hairstyle, it's just nobody's looking for it. Kids would be, but that's about it because they're just bored of, the shitty place that they live where there's nothing to fucking do. And I know about it,
I
you
mean,
know?
there's high school sports.
Sure. Yeah.
But the kids, the dropout rate in here, I don't know what the dropout rate in San Antonio is, but the dropout rate
Probably like
here,
90%. I don't know. No, actually, it's
uh,
really low. You know why? Because they just pass the kids. And that's a
well,
real thing. They just pass them.
but you
At a
still
certain
have the
point, they don't
people,
even care.
but you still have the people, you still have the kids that voluntarily leave, whether or not
Oh
they
yeah, sure.
can do the work or not. And
Yes.
that's a lot of that around here. A lot of the
Right.
kids don't graduate high school around here. Not that they
Let's go to work
care
or what?
about passing. Yeah, they go to work or they
Yeah.
do drugs.
Yeah. The
They
work
start
part
working in a
makes sense.
factory
Yeah.
or they do drugs. Yeah.
Yeah, the drugs is just like I got nothing else to do and I got nowhere to go, and yeah, so yeah, that's what that is.
And why
So
not? Their family did it, and they're but they can't.
right,
And some of their family can handle it, some can't. But I've heard stories and stories of like people my age or even
oh yeah,
older that have had their kids put in jail or have
yeah,
shot their kids from breaking in their house,
right,
vandalizing, having to call the police on their own kids.
right,
And
right,
we're talking about kids that are in their early 30s.
but what you're also talking about
Yeah.
is self accountability. And
Yeah,
that's
they
what
don't
we
care.
don't have here in my city of San
They
Antonio.
yeah, they don't
Meanwhile,
care.
there's a 13-year-old. No, they do. The parents are taking care of the problem. I hate to say it, but that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
They're putting
Oh
their
yeah,
own children in
they're
jail.
enabling.
They're
Oh,
killing them. No, I'm saying like over there, what you're telling about is they're doing the hard things that they're having, putting their own
some
kids in
of them
jail,
do, and some of
killing
them
their own.
enable it for their whole life.
Well, that's them
Yeah,
enabling,
it's a
but
mix. Yeah,
I don't hear stories here is what I'm getting at
I got you.
about people saving their kids in the right way. You know, they're thinking that they're saving them by enabling them or by, you know what, I'm a shitty parent, so I'm going to back my child up no matter what.
Right,
Because I want them to love me in some way. Meanwhile,
right.
they're letting them go down that path of shit. You know, like this, there was
Yeah.
I think a 17-year-old, I think, stole a gun from family, got caught, whatever, blah, blah. Started talking shit to a deputy detective, Bear County deputy detective, right? So he's there, and then he tells the guy, starts threatening him, I'm going to fuck you up, all that stuff, right? And then they're like, yeah, we're going to charge you for this stuff. You understand that, right? Like, and the guy gets picked up by his mom who's waiting for him in the parking lot. So there's that's a common thing where they'll do anything for the child because they're fucking stupid fucking people. They don't understand. Maybe they do. I don't know. Maybe it's ignorance or stupidity
And
or
they feel guilty because
guilt. There you go.
because they did a lot of drugs. Oh, I know a woman. I
Good,
work
yeah,
with a
right.
woman.
So they're trying to make up
Her
for their
son is in
their
jail.
shitty parenting by
Yeah,
letting their kid
exactly.
get by back. But I'm backing him
Exactly.
up, like that guy in Florida, the man and the woman that they
Yep.
attacked the deputy
Yep.
woman, and everyone was like, "Well, that woman's stupid." Yes, I get it. She shouldn't have been in position there where she can't handle it. Totally get it. But at the same time, these people are the criminals too. You don't fucking
Yep.
go attack somebody just because you don't like what's being said, especially in law enforcement. You're just saying, I don't want your structure of law and order. Okay, motherfucker. Well, you better have the guns to back that shit up. So,
Right.
because you're going to get shot unnecessarily, because you think you're a big man or whatever it is. And she's just a woman. She don't know what that. You may be right on those accounts, but don't fucking get yourself killed and then have a child without a father, and start that fucking cycle of son without a father figure. Although it seemed like he was doing a bad job anyway, but but yeah,
Well,
yeah,
I work with a woman that's like 60 years old. Both her kids are addicts.
yep,
They're in their 30s, or 40s really
right,
at this point. And she watches both their kids. She has custody of both her kids because both her kids lost custody. One of them's in jail right now, and she's always posting pictures of her talking to her son in jail. And I say son, he's like 38 years old or
Jesus
whatever.
Christ,
Tatted head to toe, tattoos head to toe,
yep, know it
piercings.
too well.
And she's got a big smile on her face, like I'm being a great parent right now. I'm going to visit my son, and it makes
And people will pat her on
excuses.
the back for that.
That's so he's and it's just they never learn.
They'll pat
And
her on
they
the back for being there for her son. You gotta, no matter what. You know what? Maybe you do, but we don't.
Right, exactly.
That's why he's
And
behind bars.
yeah, and he gets out, and then he gets right back in, and I'm tired.
Well, put him in one of
tired
these ego-driven criminal reform programs that these judges propose and get funded and all that, because it's good for their legacy and their whatever, and it makes them, oh, look what I've done for the community. I've really helped the community by helping the people break the cycle of nothing. Because if these things worked for decades, we would have shown success, and we don't.
I got another story. There's a woman at work, real nice girl. She's like maybe 30 years old. She's been adopting kids
Mm.
that are abandoned because their mother, this mother is a junkie, and the kid is on a, the 6 month old kid is on a respirator in the hospital, and the woman is in and out of jail, and she still keeps having kids, and they keep taking the kids away as
See, where
babies from
that's
her.
where
And
we
guess
get to
what?
the
She's
yeah.
pregnant again.
Yep.
She's pregnant again. It's unbelievable
Do you know?
that they're allowing that.
I'm going to
Yeah.
the knee-jerk reaction of that's where we should be. Can we tie this bitch's tubes? Like,
Exactly.
there's something, but then
Right.
that's reproductive rights and all that other shit. And I
Right.
was like,
Oh,
look.
that's
Remember we
yeah.
talked about rational solutions? Well, how about we, whoever's having to pay the taxes for all these fucking kids and everything they do, whether
Exactly.
even if they live,
Yep.
they grow up and become productive members later, they still got to get paid for getting raised, But the
Unbelievable.
majority of them are
Yeah.
probably going to get into some dirty shit. So then
And
we
she
got to
got-
pay for that shit too.
And she got pregnant again.
Yeah.
And she's already given up 2 kids that have had that are born with health problems because of rampant
Jeez.
drug use.
Yeah.
And now she's pregnant again.
Yeah.
And the girl at work that adopted 2 of the kids said, "I can't do another one. I already have 5 kids, and I can't, And I was like, she's like, I'm doing, and the social working network with the kids, they fucking drag the whole process out and tap everybody for money, tap
Yep.
the taxpayer system for money. It's all a scam. It's
Well,
all a big.
We start getting into eugenics talk when we start. We start getting into like real Hitler-esque
yeah.
type of shit that people are uncomfortable with.
But yeah,
But
it's
like the
like-
cat here, for example, the one mama cat here that we had fixed. Well, we had her fixed for her own good. She was getting
Exactly.
dried out and she was dying because she kept having big litters. And then
Big
those kids
litters,
are getting
right.
fucking killed by trucks and these psychos with machetes.
Exactly.
And that's not I'm
Exactly.
not exaggerating. They'll cut the cat's heads off or a limb off and they use them for weird, fucking satanic practices. That's not exact. That's just a reality. A lot
That's
of this stuff
reality.
is learned from cartel guys that come and they
Yep.
share it around. Their families
Yep.
are into this occult stuff. That's just
Yes.
that's a Mexico thing. A culture of death. That's a good way
It's
to talk about Mexico
it's
and the
100%
people.
reality. Yep.
All of the natives and back then, you think about that culture of death. They're death worshiping.
They're eating the cats in the neighborhood in Springfield. That's such a conspiracy theory. Oh no, it's not, because the park I live in with the geese.
Antifa geese.
Antifa. Yeah, they stopped an immigrant family from
Right.
trying to round up some of the geese to eat them.
Yeah.
So it's happening.
Yeah, because that's
Okay,
an animal,
Springfield-
and they're like, all right, that
Yeah,
should be acceptable, right?
Springfield is a much bigger town than the town I live in, and I guarantee it's happening with all
Yeah.
of the Haitian immigrant. I don't care if you call me a racist or what. It's fucking happening. Now, it may not be happening all the time, but
Look, if they were
it is
Swedish
happening.
and they were doing that, I would say these fucking Swedish, but they're not Swedish. They're Haitian.
Swedish.
So
Yeah.
I don't know what to tell you.
The Swedish
you know,
people don't do that.
if they were my
Yeah,
own
but the other
kind,
ones do.
yeah, if they were
Yeah.
from Mexico region and more my own kind, I would say the same shit, because right now you got a bunch of illegals coming from the South as well. Not all of them are Mexican. Everybody wants to throw that on them. A lot of them are different fucking countries. But the point is, yeah, a lot of us that have been living here in the United States for a long time too, and came, illegally or not, are already established. We know what is bad.
Right, exactly.
We're the
Exactly.
survivors of the good. So
Right.
that's how we know what is bad.
Right.
So when we're telling you that Trump's not saying that Trump's saying they're not bringing their best, we had no problem with him saying that, because we're like, yeah, that's
I have
right.
No problem with saying that.
Well, no, but you're white, so that's different. I'm saying, like, you can't say it. Remember, that's how racism works. You can't.
Well,
No, but to give a lot of people will agree with what I'm saying, because that it's socially acceptable if I say it because it's my own right.
Right, exactly.
but it also gives it credence. And I'm talking even people on the right. They'll say, "See, even that they have to they have to qualify themselves." Mexican here, and I'm going to tell you, because Mexicans talk that way.
Yeah, Mexicans here. Yeah. Well, I've seen
But
it
because
in
when I read those posts, they don't read like someone from whatever culture they're talking about. They just read like plain English. So
right.
why would you qualify yourself when you're just speaking as an American? Don't qualify yourself as someone from another country if you're from fucking America. It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense.
Ugh.
I I really like the black people that go, don't call me African American. I've never been to Africa. I'm born
Yeah.
here. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
This whole lineage thing. It's fine to personally explore that stuff.
Absolutely.
But why would you tie your public persona to it? You know what I mean? I just don't. But it's a get out. They use it as
I blame
they use it as a
celebrities.
crutch.
I blame
Oh, of
celebrities from
course,
going
of
back even
course.
down to even Muhammad Ali. Like,
Oh, of course. Yeah.
they're
He
in the
was the worst at
spotlight.
it.
They
Yeah.
yeah, they're constantly redeveloping themselves to keep, the spotlight on them. They're constantly about me, all that stuff. And then of course people will follow along with it because they idolize, I love
Right.
heroes, don't get me wrong. I still
Oh,
say to this
yeah.
I still say to this day one of the greatest heroes of mine is Lance Armstrong, and he didn't do anything wrong. He did nothing wrong. And
I
I'll go down
I have
fighting for
zero
that.
problem. I have zero problem with Lance Armstrong.
I don't
Uh,
think. Yeah, he was doing what was being
he's
done, and he
he's a
proved that he
is
was
he a
the
ruthless
superior.
competitor? He's
He
a
was the
ruthless
superior
competitor.
human being because no matter what
Exactly.
those drugs were, his
He
body
was
still had to be
driven,
able to take it, and his
and he
body
was
took it.
driven like unbelievable.
Yeah,
And he's just a ruthless competitor.
yeah, absolutely.
That
I
that
don't have to
doesn't
like the
mean
guy. I
exactly
love what he was able to accomplish.
of 100%.
Yeah, it is a testament
I
to human
agree.
fucking performance. You know.
And the
So
only reason these people lie is because of this stigma that everyone creates where everything has to feel good and be good and all, and you know what I mean? It's like I I don't have a problem with a competitor. Everybody was doing it, during the competition.
yeah.
They act like he's the only one. That's the only reason that he went. No,
No,
no.
from what I remember, it
That's
was his own teammates that missed out on certain opportunities that got
right.
pissy. That U.S. mail thing
Well,
or
that's a
whatever. Yeah,
weird sport. That's a
yeah.
sport where it's actually a team sport. It looks
Yes,
like
it
an
is.
individual sport, but
Right. I
you have
was
a
next in
designated
line.
role.
Yeah, I was next in
Yeah,
line. Stuff.
I,
Yeah,
yeah,
I was supposed to
you're
be the winner. You were the
yeah,
one. Yeah,
yeah. Goalies in hockey don't score points.
yeah,
Why? Because you're the designated goalie. You don't
yeah,
get the limelight of scoring points and getting assists and all that stuff. You don't get the stats.
yeah.
You get your stat, but that's the same. It's a team sport, and you have one guy that's going to get the glory.
And the
That's it.
goalies get their glory. So let's not pretend
Oh,
like.
goalie. No, goalies do when they're exceptional.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
get their, but
But they're not the
it
key person that gets the majority of the. Yeah,
of the like the
right.
quarterback on a football team.
Exactly.
Quarterbacks usually don't win
Right
games,
tackle,
but
great,
they
but
get all of
he's
the
he's not
yeah.
going to
The
get
right
the
tackle
primary
doesn't get the
spotlight.
glory, but he's probably got more to do with the
Right.
outcome of the game than the
Yes.
quarterback.
There you go. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you're never going to see that. It's always going to be that's what I'm getting at with
For
the
sure.
Lance Armstrong was the quarterback.
Yeah.
Protect him. He's the man. Everybody else is the enforcer, the drafter, the enforcer.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a team.
Yep.
Yep. So
Yeah.
if you can't handle that, don't get in it. You know,
Yep.
don't
Well.
get into that game if you can't handle that.
Yeah.
Get into a true individual sport. See, I think Tour de France should be an absolute individual sport. Why
Oh.
have these teams? Make it a true individual sport.
Yeah. Well, teams create weakness, so there's more to an individual on his own can
Right.
dominate, but a team has their strategies. The
Right.
immediate thing I see was like, there's always going to be somebody not as good as somebody else on the next team. But
Right.
if it is individuals, well, then that is probably the most fair you could make it, you know?
Right. Right.
So, yeah. Because once you start introducing other people that have an ability better than you do and they're on your team, well, now that person is helping you win. But, you may not have if
Right.
it was you individually. So, yeah.
Yeah,
True
I
ranking.
100% agree with you on
True
Lance
ranking.
Armstrong. Oh, Lance Armstrong. Look at all the money he raised too
I
for
know.
all these causes.
I knew a
But I
woman
don't
that
care if he
worked
lied.
I knew a
You
woman
know.
that worked for that in Texas, in Austin. I think it was a what was it? Was it literally Lance Armstrong Foundation or something? It was
Yeah.
his cancer foundation, right?
Yeah.
Where he had to, and imagine
Live.
that he had
Live
to
strong.
remove Live Strong.
Yeah.
They had to
Yeah.
they disconnected. He had to disconnect himself from his work, his money, his legacy, because they looked at him as like the dirtiest human that ever lived.
It's
They really
ridiculous.
dragged him, and they made it like it was a national, like it was like a historic. It was a huge debt. They killed a hero. That's why they felt bad, and they didn't real. I don't know if they realized it or not, but they were like, I can't believe that he did the betrayal wasn't on him. The betrayal was on you guys for him
Right.
creating all of that for you to turn your back on him no matter what happened. Nobody took that money away that they used or that they raised,
Right.
you know?
Right.
So
Yeah. I
nobody
mean,
came for the places that he invested money in
right.
for those
Yeah. So
organizations. And that's why he did the right thing and said, well, fuck it. If that's what it's got to be, it's what it's got to be.
I'm
I got to
100% on
disconnect.
board with. Yeah. I admire Lance Armstrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do I think he's maybe an ass, arrogant? Of course.
That
Of
doesn't bother
course.
me at all. I
That doesn't
mean,
bother me at all.
I'm not trying to
You
befriend
know,
the guy.
is,
I
is
don't think there's an
Ellen a
option for
little,
it anyway.
yeah. Is Ellen a little demanding on the set sometimes
I
because her
don't care
name's up
about
in the
that
lights? I
shit
don't
either.
care. I
I
don't
saw
give
some
a
comment
shit.
the other day where, oh, so and so was ahead of their time when they talked about Ellen. Oh, they were saying Louis C.K. on an old Opie and Anthony thing I was listening to. Somebody in the comment, oh, he was ahead of his time in calling out Ellen. Let me tell you what, those
Bullshit.
motherfuckers, they shotgunned during those shows. You know why? Because they did one every morning. So every number of things would come up that had a potential to become true. So don't
Right.
fucking,
Right.
oh, so and
Exactly.
so. So
Don't like
there was a
act like
point there where
yeah.
they didn't even really know for sure if what's that guy that they call him the joke thief now, but oh my gosh,
Yeah, I don't know what
his
you're
name
talking
was
about.
Ned, and I can't remember what his Hispanic name or whatever. Yeah, that guy, but they call him Ned. His real name was Ned, but he was the oh my god,
Are you
is it
talking
gonna
about Carlos
Carlos
Mencia?
Mencia? There you go, Carlos
Yeah.
Mencia,
I
right?
wasn't when you said nah, I was like,
Because that's his
because
name, Ned.
right, that's his real. Yeah, he's actually Colombian.
Guatemalan
He's
or
not
something.
Mexican.
I thought he was
Yeah, he's
Guatemalan. Okay,
actually yeah, something like
Colombian.
that. You might be right. He's not Mexican.
I can't. Yeah, that and some kind
Yeah.
of European mix, I think. But
Yeah, he tried to pass himself off like in his act as being Mexican.
which is fine because he's a fucking he's an entertainment piece. I don't give
Yeah.
a shit if he tried to power. So what? It didn't matter to me. I didn't look into his lineage and stuff. You know why? Because I didn't care. Because the things
Right.
that he was saying were funny, and most of them were cliche but true. So what the fuck did I care? And
Right.
here's another thing I found.
I personally never found him funny. I even before
Right.
the joke thief stuff, my buddy loved his show, and I couldn't
Yeah,
watch more than about 10
I
minutes of
could
it.
tolerate a
Yeah.
little bit of it.
Yeah.
I just,
No,
to me,
it's
the
fine. A
whole,
lot of
what
people
was
think
it?
he's funny.
I hated
A lot
the
of people think he's funny.
I was like, you sound like a
Yeah,
fucking retard saying
you
that.
sound like an idiot. That
Like,
doesn't
yeah, you don't
that doesn't
sound.
make me laugh.
It doesn't
Right,
make me.
exactly, yeah.
You yourself sound like an fucking
Now, did he
idiot like
say a
that.
couple funny things? Yeah,
Sure.
his show for a little while. There might be a funny skit or two, but
But a lot of
overall,
that-
I didn't find him funny.
A lot of that immigrant stuff honestly is across the board anyway, so there was nothing special there like, oh well, the this and this, and I'm like, yeah, a lot of those families are like that, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Hey,
you know?
Beaner, he liked to do the Beaner.
Oh
the
well,
Beaner, everything
but that's an
Beaner.
old fucking thing too. That's a Cheech and
Yeah.
Chong. That goes back
Of
way back, you
course.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah, Beaner's
That's like
gonna
funny
eat
one
beans.
time
Beaner,
to
yeah,
me.
exactly.
And then it's not. The comedian I
And it was
really
out
don't
of
find
social.
funny.
it wasn't really in the social like norm to call people beaners anyways. That was an old thing. It was an old one. But yeah,
Right.
anyway, yeah, go ahead.
He just ran it in the ground, though. To
Yes, he did. He
me,
ran everything in the
it
ground,
was kind of
including
the
himself.
Larry the Cable Guy get her done thing,
Which was
and
why there was no problem with it. It was
right,
so
get her
what? Like,
done.
who cares?
Get her
Yeah.
done was funny. Like the first time I heard
Right.
Larry the Cable Guy, the very first time I heard him say "get her done," but the 100th time,
Yeah, that bitch is done. Yeah, we don't. There ain't no more getting in there.
it just sounds stupid. But the comedian I do not like, and people make a
Uh,
big deal of him.
oh, they make a good deal. Big deal. Hold on, hold on.
Um,
No, no, no. Let me guess here.
okay,
Bill Burr.
no, I like Bill
Ah,
Burr.
I like Bill Burr,
I,
but I don't like him so much now in his twilight
yeah,
years
I like him.
of white
I like
apologist
Yeah, I
bullshit.
like his older stuff.
Well,
Yeah.
you know what? I listen to a lot of his older stuff, even him on the radio, which is even better because that's just them talking, so they don't have a chance to just stick to their script jokes or whatever it is.
Right.
And
Right.
he honestly was a lot of the time very much a leftist, very much a
Oh yeah.
yeah. And I was like, listen,
Yeah.
I was like, it's
He's from
not too much of
Boston. What
a.
do you expect? Yeah, he's from Boston.
Well, I
It's a
always thought
mix.
that tough
It's a
guys
mix of
would
that
be more
liberal.
conservative, but
Yeah.
apparently Boston and all that are real, but because especially if those guys
It's a different
would
type,
make
though.
fun
It's like
of,
a working class.
yeah, but they would make fun of racist stuff, and a lot of them were racist.
Of course.
So I
Yeah.
figured, how could they be on the left if they're gonna
They're
be,
still. Oh
you know,
no, they're still. Yeah, they're more like a classic liberal type.
uh,
Stereo. That drink and
yeah,
and they're blue collar people. Stuff
yeah,
like that.
yeah,
But the guy, Anthony Jeselnik,
I, yeah, his name Jeselnik. That's what I always think. I'm like,
or
yeah,
whatever, he
yeah.
is not funny to me at all. I
I
can't.
don't, I can't even
It's
picture
you.
his face.
You hear 5 minutes of him, and it's all to me. It's just all the same.
I
And people
can't
are
even
like,
picture his face though.
he's a younger. He's I don't know. He might be 40 now.
I
He's
see him
kind of
now,
younger.
but I
Kind of
don't
a.
know anything
He's
that he's
like a
done.
little bit of a clean cut, blondish looking. You know, decent looking guy. I mean.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to
Slim.
listen to his stuff.
Yeah, I watched this special and I got on Twitter and they were talking about how great his special was, his new one that was on Netflix a couple of weeks ago. And I said, in my opinion, I don't find him funny. Oh, you just don't understand his dark humor. No, you pinhead. I understand perfectly what he's trying to do, but it's just not. It doesn't. Just a personal anecdotal thing. It just doesn't. I've never laughed at any one thing he said ever. I'll just sit there and like, this isn't funny to me. I don't know. It's just kind of weird.
Yeah,
But they think he's the greatest thing. There's people that just think he's the great. Oh, he says such shocking dark humor thing. Really? I hear that stuff at work like every day. I mean,
yeah.
worse.
There's some other
It's like,
comedian that's getting pushed around on YouTube that I have never heard this guy, never heard a single thing he did. But a lot of these
what's his name?
comedians that are like Joe Rogan's buddies, the fat white guys that I don't really find that funny. They're more like social commenters, which I'm okay
Right.
with, but
Yeah.
maybe they have stand up, but I don't even find half of the stuff they find, to be that funny anyways. You know what it is? I think I'm just getting old because I've heard too many comedians and I'm like, if you're not
That's
doing
part of
that
it,
type of
too.
thing better
Right.
than this other guy that I used to hear doing that thing, you're not that great. Like,
Exactly.
you're
I'd
just-
rather go back and watch Richard Pryor. I'll go back and watch Richard
Right.
Pryor from the late 70s, and he makes me laugh.
And yet
Still.
people will push these guys as
Yeah.
like, oh man, they're so great. They're so smart. And I'm like, you guys are just giving each other hand jobs. Like,
Right,
they're
exactly.
not,
It's
I've
like-
seen this type of behavior before. And God, I
Now,
can't.
one guy says, obviously you haven't watched a lot of comedy. I'm like,
Oh.
buddy, I've been watching comedy since the 70s. He's
Yeah.
like, oh, you're that old? They don't. Because my
Here we go.
Count
Here's one of
Chocula
thing. Guys.
thing-
Shane Gillis. That's one of those guys I'm talking about.
I know who Shane Gillis is.
Yeah, he's fine, but I would never
He's
consider him
all
to be
right.
a
He's
comedian.
not funny. Yeah, I don't find him very funny.
I find him to make
Yeah.
jokes the way I do, where there are things that maybe he thinks are funny, but they don't really get the laughs that because
Right.
I make jokes for myself to make me laugh, and they're funny to me, and I think they're fucking hilarious. But that doesn't make them funny to the majority of people. You
Right.
know, they
Right.
might have some like, yeah, okay, I can get that, but they're not like, ha ha ha. You know, most people. No, there's some other guy. Is it Sam? No, maybe with an S. I'm trying to find this other kind. Sam Campbell, is that the one?
I
Maybe.
don't know him. I do
But
not
that's
know
the
him.
thing. It's a name like that where
Oh.
I don't think that's the guy, but where people are on YouTube, like the YouTube comedians is kind of what I start calling them because they're all the Shane Gillis and what's the other guy, the Ari Shafir and all those same
Yeah.
guys that are kind of like mid level. To me, they're not
Right.
great.
Nah. Nah.
I even throw Segura in there. I don't really find him to be
I
better than
I don't see him being talented at all.
yeah.
To me, you either
I remember
to me, Janser, you either have it or you don't. And I
yeah.
can't explain how somebody actually has it, but I know it when I hear it.
Yeah.
The cadence, the timing of it, I just don't pay attention to the words. It's like they've got to have a certain cadence, a timing, just and the way they present their humor
Yeah.
all matters to me. And I either hear it or I don't. It's like a guy doing music. You know what I mean? It's hard. Like Dennis Miller, I love Dennis Miller.
Yeah.
To me, he just has it.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
I
I
mean,
think that's pretty. I think he's just a
yeah,
funny guy.
he's
There's a
yeah.
definite like. I know I like his comedy
He's got a
skits,
talent. He's
but
got
I
a
like
talent
him
there.
better just as being a funny guy. Like he's just
Right.
fucking great. Like as a
Right.
host,
Yeah.
I've gone back to watch some of him hosting
Yeah.
his show and
And I love his stand up.
Yep.
It just gets me because it's just this thing that just rings with me. I can't explain it.
is it
It's just
yeah. Maybe the guy is
Greg
Dan.
Giraldo. To
Right.
me,
I
he
remember you
had
told
it.
me many times.
Yeah, I love him, but I like Patrice O'Neill too
Yeah.
on the stand up.
Well, I like him more in all of the radio show stuff I've heard him in.
See, I like
than
him
I
in stand up
do
better
in
than
the
the radio
stand-up.
stuff.
I thought his stand
Yeah.
up still needed. I think it needed to keep coming along. Like I don't think he even had the.
Oh,
he had
definitely
worked all
didn't
the
hit
time
his
he
point.
did, but
Yeah.
I think he wasn't even. He wasn't even there, like on the stand up stuff. I think he was definitely, like I think he would have been probably, 5 times better, 10 times better. Who knows? That's the problem. Because I heard so much of
100%.
him talking on the radio and all that I'm like, oh my god, like you can't deny that he was just. And then I also heard him, where he is absolute flubs, where he absolutely was not funny, but he
Right.
would try a shitload of stuff, and
Right,
a lot most
right.
of the time it was fucking funny,
Yeah.
I
I love
whereas,
his
like-
elephant in the room.
Yeah.
I
Well,
love
that's
that
all-
stand
yeah,
up.
yeah.
Yeah, I love that one. I laughed so hard during that.
well, like Jim Norton, because I hear so much of those guys because listen to so much of their old stuff. I've listened to his stand up, and I don't really like his stand up that much. It's okay.
I don't like his stand up either,
but I
Janser.
think you have to like his his content as well, because he's very
Yeah.
much about the type of person he is. He's a very about me, that kind of
Right.
thing, and his but in radio, I'll tell you what, he is a fast motherfucker. He
Oh, I bet.
is
Yeah.
so on top of, like, it is just easy for him even back then.
Right.
And he had his flubs, and I think that's why he made these little characters, because he could then say, oh no, that was so and so. He would do a different voice when he knew something was not going to hit really well. He would do a character, and then
Right.
that would even sometimes take off as, like, now he's got like this character or that character. I just didn't like most of that stuff.
I've never been a fan of his. I just can't explain it.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he doesn't have any talent, but
Well, the fact that
I
he's
just,
a worm of a human being
yeah, I just
doesn't help. I mean,
yeah, his delivery, it come across every once in a while. He'll say something that but no, to me, I would not watch him. But I don't like Segura either.
I thought I would like Jim Norton because I like his radio stuff, but then I watched his comment. I was like, I don't like it.
He doesn't have it. Bill Burr, to me, his older stand up, he had it.
Oh yeah,
I like it. Yeah,
yeah.
to me, that's what I'm talking about. It rang with me. Dave Chappelle hits me. You know,
Dave Chappelle definitely is last stuff that I
he
saw not very good.
not as
I
yeah, his older stuff, the Killing Me Softly and
he
stuff
got
like
to a
that.
peak, and that, and then he started trying
Yes,
to transition
and
to like a
exactly. So
philosopher
yeah,
style or
I
something
like
like
older
that.
Dave Chappelle. Now, I still like some of the new stuff,
Right? Yeah.
but it's a little bit too. It's not as creative to me as his older stuff. I
Right.
like his. I can see his lack of creativity. He just doesn't care as much anymore. But
Yeah.
back then, he tried to be a little bit more creative with his jokes. The whole
Yeah.
Sesame Street bit and stuff like that. I love that stuff. Yeah, it's just he
Yeah.
doesn't really try that kind of stuff anymore. He
Right.
talks about more of his. He's a little more jaded now, and I don't like that.
Yeah. Well, and part of the whole continually doing stand up forever and ever, which I think it has its limits clearly, but
Oh yeah, yeah,
even yeah, but what was that thing? Steve Martin, I think, probably said it best that I heard. I remember he's just like, at a point, nothing you say matters anymore because people are
right,
just gonna laugh, and that's why I quit.
right,
There was no, there was
right.
nothing to it anymore. I wasn't
Yeah,
getting
that's a
anything
good
out of it.
right,
They were just laughing when I walked up. I could say, well, and they would start laughing because they
right.
expected a certain thing and
Yep.
they were already ahead
They've
of
been
everything.
conditioned.
Yes.
They're preconditioned to just there he is.
Yep.
I'm in the same room and he's doing an act and there it is. Richard Pryor got to that point late in his career where
Yeah.
the last special he did just didn't have it for me like the older stuff.
Yeah.
It was more raw and not Eddie Murphy raw or something like that, but. But
Yeah.
I don't know. Just
Louis C.K., I think his last one, he was going so far out there where he was starting to do like weird child porn related thing. I'm like, yeah, I
he's
liked you a lot for all
yeah,
of the he was outrageous. He always has been. He's
right,
always been about, he's gotten only more and more outrageous, and that was the draw for me was, wow, I'm going to say something so crazy but kind of logical at the same time that it's hard to deny that it's funny because of that. So at least that's
right,
the way I like when I just keep that just came out. I didn't try to think about like, but that's I
right.
think at the core what I like about his stuff without even thinking about it. And so when I got to that stuff, I'm like, yeah, you're trying to take me to a territory like they like to say where it's uncomfortable, but I also like, and there was also some gay guy stuff, and it's uncomfortable. Number one, number two, I don't really find it to be topically important or interesting. Like I'm trying to fit it into things that matter to me, and I'm like, okay, I'm not going to say that it's not funny. It probably is to whatever, but I'm also not going to go to his face like some people would in an audience say that's not funny, man. Blah blah blah. Like
Right.
it might be funny, but I don't find it funny. I just find it kind of like all right, you're trying something or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, his last stuff. But I still think he's one of the best comedians. For
Oh, I do
certain
too.
type of
Yeah.
certain type of comedy though.
Yeah, for
Like
certain. Yeah.
he was trying
Yeah,
to
I
definitely
like
be
him.
in that outrage, logical outrage.
Right.
It's like how can
Right.
you? Oh, it doesn't make any sense, and that yeah. But that's where I don't find someone like the Shane Gillis. There's another one that they look kind of the same to me. Shane Gillis and what's another one that's like him? They look almost the same, and they kind of have similar. I think they have similar ways of trying to be smart and funny or whatever.
Um,
Versus,
I know there's Bart's. I get
yeah,
those. There's two of them that I get mixed up, and I can't remember. And they all have podcasts now, so I can't.
that's the other thing too. Didn't one of them get on SNL and then he got fired or some shit like that?
Yeah, that's Shane Gillis.
Okay, then
Yeah.
there's another one that I'm sorry, but I get
Yeah, I'm
I get certain
losing.
white people. I get certain white people mixed up because they kind of look the same to me.
Oh, 100%. These guys look the
Duncan
same and they kind
Trussell.
of sound
Duncan
the same. Like,
Trussell. He for some reason I get him mixed up with Shane Gillis, and I don't know when I look at them they
I
don't
don't
look
even
the
know
same.
that. I don't even know that guy. I know who
He
Shane
gets
Gillis
on
is.
Joe Rogan podcast JRE a lot too.
Oh, okay.
But he's got that same kind of like higher pitched voice and logical whatever, and this is outlandish and whatever. And I'm like, yeah, I don't really find what you're saying that funny though. Like sometimes, yeah. Tim Dillon. Tim Dillon's another one. In my mind, I'm thinking Shane Gillis, but I'm seeing Tim Dillon.
I know who you're talking. I know who that is.
Him and Shane Gillis, I think, are way too similar. Yeah, and then this other guy, Duncan Trussell. Yeah, they're kind of all the same to me. They all they. But then that's things with comedians, right? Sometimes they all started replicating. Let's follow exactly what so and so's doing in Eddie Murphy and all that.
Duncan Trussell. I don't think I've seen him, but I don't think I've ever listened to him.
He's on Joe Rogan a lot. That's
really?
why I know.
Okay.
That's why I know him. Yeah.
I don't really listen to Joe Rogan that much. It's got to be something I'm particularly interested in.
Me too. But I whenever there's a comedian, I like to hear comedians because sometimes, yes, they do that thing that they pick up on stuff in life and they kind of have a funny take on it. And that's why I like to listen to them. But yeah, some of them are, that's all right. He's giving them a shot. So. And honestly, they've done fine anyway. So, fucking, all right, well, yeah. I'm about tired here too.
I got to go here in a minute. I got some stuff I got to do. But one thing I was going to say, it's a lot like the roast comedians.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I love Greg Girardo.
Right.
But I don't like Jeff Ross.
Yeah, I'm not a Ross fan.
Because when Greg Girardo does it, he seems like he's desperate. It's like there's an inner desperation to his comedy that I can't explain. But Jeff Ross just comes out and kind of starts spewing blah, 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 and it doesn't sound desperate to me. I kind of like a little self-desperation in the comedy a little bit. You know what I mean? In some of those guys. It's kind of hard to
listen
explain,
to them.
But,
I'll have to listen to them again because I don't really listen to Jeff Ross that much. I think because when I've heard him, he just seems more acerbic but not really funny. More to like I'm throwing insults, which could be funny, but maybe it is what we're saying going back to the delivery. Because it's not like there haven't been people like that.
Watch some old Greg Girardo stuff. It's just that there's just something about it. It's like you can tell he'd rather be off smoking crack or something. You know what I mean?
That's different from
It's hilarious. Like he's.
But that's just something you like about him, anyways. I don't know that makes him a good insult comic, but
right.
That yeah. What I was gonna say was probably like God damn it! He did the Hickory Dickory Dock shit. I think
Andrew Dice Clay.
Dice Clay had but that's what I'm saying. To me, that's a good example of someone that's gonna get under your skin and kind of like, hey, I'm fucking talking to you, whatever, right? But he's funny. But he's funny. The delivery's funny.
Right.
It's not just being like in your face and hey, you stupid motherfucker, I tell this bitch whatever, it's funny. He's got a cadence. You said it yourself. He's got a cadence,
and he knows he's playing a character, and he's going to put you to the test. He's never going to break that character, and it's funny. It's like Andy Kaufman stuff. I always loved Andy Kaufman. Some people watch Andy Kaufman and go, he's not funny at all, but I love it because he dares you to try to break him. You know what I mean? And it's, I don't know. It's hard to explain.
Yeah. Well, being an angry comic is not just about being angry. Even Carlin practiced everything he did, and he was an angry comic to a point, but he was a lot of different labels, right? But he did have that old angry old man thing. But he still, even in that, his tone, how he took his voice levels and all that, the register. It wasn't just throwing out insults.
He had his act down.
Fucking professional, and that's where I think we don't see Jeff Ross, and not that he doesn't do his version of the act,
All his jokes are in the
well.
same. All his jokes are like all the same. He spouts them in the exact same
Yeah,
rhythm.
it's
There's
lazy.
no. Yeah, he's lazy.
Yeah,
Yeah, he says
it
some
works for
funny
the
stuff,
job.
but
It
it's
works.
lazy.
Yeah,
Yeah, and it works. Yeah, exactly.
yeah. All
But
right, well,
yeah,
let's
yeah.
go.
I'll let you go.
Yeah.
I gotta work on some stuff, and
Yeah.
it's already
I'll
past
throw
2
this
o'clock.
up on the channel. Not that you need to listen to yourself again, and I sure as fuck don't need to listen to myself.
Nobody wants to
But
listen to me, so
I think this is pretty good shit. And I often,
okay.
whenever we talk, I usually am like, why am I not recording this shit? There's so
Sometimes,
much good
yeah,
shit.
yeah,
Shut up. It's good to me. I think it's great. And I'm not saying because
yeah.
you make amazing stuff. No,
No, trust me.
whatever. Yeah. Anyways, all right. I'm gonna
Yeah.
get out of here and catch you
I'll
later.
see you.
Yep.
All right, later.